Good morning. My name's Tom Hora. I am one of the proud members of the Chandler family. And the Chandlers came here after the Wilcoxes. The Wilcoxes, my great-grandfather, came in 1910. My grandfather a little bit later. But anyway, my grandmother's house used to sit right behind me under those live oaks. And my first memories here are quite good. My grandmother had a very welcoming house. The little island behind us over here, I called it Granny's Island. And at that time, there were 5 palm trees like that one down the way there that were planted here. She had 5 children, and there's a palm tree for each one of them. There's one left, but unfortunately, they're all gone. Well, my grandmother's house sat right there. We had a lot of good memories with that location growing up. We fished, clammed, shrimped, which was something you don't see anymore. We'd pull a big seine net out here in the inlet and catch buckets of shrimp, bucket loads. I'm not, wash tubs more like. But anyway, this location is dear to my heart, and I always walk across this parking lot. I think of Joni Mitchell's song, "They Paved Paradise and Put Up a Parking Lot." Those are words from her song. But anyway, now it's a long stretch of restaurants tied together. And when I was a kid, where we're standing right here was, in fact, an oyster bank. There was no concrete, just sand. Continuing with my story here, this island in the background was my grandmother's island. We used to play out there as kids. It was our refuge, and great place to play. We didn't have cell phones or anything like that. It was make your mind up and do something fun, and we invented things, of course. This little island right here with the trees on it, when I was young, there was not a tree on it. It was a shell bank, a shell mound that was dredged out of this basin. And what this basin was for was the deep sea fishing boat, the Thunderbird. It was a wooden craft, and I can't tell you, I'd be lying if I told you how long it was. It seemed like it was a quarter of a mile long, but anyway, it would pull in and spin around in this basin and back in a spot right here where Wahoo's is. And there was a big bulkheaded area for that boat to sit. It's hard to imagine that underneath Wahoo's right now, but that's the way it was. Continuing on, this creek behind me is called Hermitage Canal. It's a man-made canal dug by my great uncle Clark Wilcox, and he dug it for the people who bought property from him down through here, and those were all Marion folks. They came from Marion as far back as early 1900s in covered wagons. And my grandmother told stories of coming down here, and as a young girl, about 18, and when they bought the property, and it was a 3-day trip from Marion. Today it's a half an hour drive, maybe an hour. But the Hermitage sat at the end of the creek. It was one house sitting on a piece of land now that contains, I think, 14 homes. So there was an explosion of residents shortly after that. Perry's came here probably in, I would say, late 60s, early 70s. Perry's Bait and Tackle. I remember when they first showed up, and had the little bait shop here. Before that, there were 2 old fish shacks out here and on this property, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the fella that owned the property, but my grandmother's house was here, the Anchor Inn restaurant, and then the Galley restaurant later on was right here where Bovines sits today.